Hi guys, it's pretty late. I'm just gonna make this video, just short video, about my cousin Mike. My cousin Mike passed away, recently, just today. You know, guys, I lost my dad. I lost my two aunts. I lost, some of my classmates from high school, and my cousin Mike was here recently here in Chicago, and here in Las Vegas to visit us. You know, for me, I just felt that this thing called, thing called, uh, loss. I just feel like he represents like that. Mike represents a part of my family, but mostly my childhood and memories. Also of a good person in my life. He was a big brother to me and big brother to my brother. He was there, when I needed him. And when my parents needed something, he was always there because my dad was his favorite uncle. Took care of him when he was a kid, and I only said a few words. No, if I gonna see I transcribe my life with him, he only have a few words. We only have a few words. That's about it. A few paragraphs, and I was looking back. All these years that we when we talk, even though it's a party, that's only a few paragraphs, but nothing small talk, only surface talk. But when I need anything, when I need something, he was there. But it's all small talk. It's nothing deep. But one thing I like about him, because doctors detached. Okay, he was a doctor. Being detached, I call us. You take the emotion out of the game, and he was always telling me these things that saying, when you decide, I call us. If you look at, they told me, if you look at your life, maybe you need to change it. Maybe you're not, maybe you should go somewhere else besides the United States. Maybe check out other countries that to live. That's, that's for me. I was like, why, Mike? He told me there are other options out there, and for me, like that, I love the United States. I like to stay here, but he made sense in a way that just don't want to do some life advice that thinking outside the box. And he also gave me good perspective. He told me you're healthy, and just keep doing at it, but make sure you lose weight, things like that. Always drilling my mind, always drilling to me, saying, "Hey, your health is wealth and everything." And I just I took it just as a grain of salt. But after a while, his words really impacted me. That's why my opinion of that we have different philosophies. We sometimes argued, but not that bad. But I say to him, the typical things like get out here, Mike. But overall, he was there when we needed him. He was also that person. He smiles were infectious. But he also represented my childhood. When I needed a big brother, that he was there for me. When he just really hit me in a way like that it got me thinking. There's some people in your life you just don't think this will go away, and boom, he's gone. And it shows you my age. I'm a Generation Xer, and I'm seeing my life with that and my memories of my family with that. And one by one, my family is going. My generation, my family is going. My joke to my brother is this. Bro, when I have a wedding like that, my future wife can invite our side of the family. The first thing I'll say, which side? All of them are dead. But that's the thing. I didn't marry early, I didn't marry at the right time because, life got in the way. And it was just blew my mind like that. I'm reaching at this, I'm also getting that age already that, getting old. And all the people I know are slowly fading away. As they say that, when I watch old Cubs, games from the '80s and from the 2000s, those people are not there anymore. It's a different generation like us. You know, the generation before us, is different. Look around us. My world, the United States back then was a different world. Now it's more diversified. I'm gonna be an older man. Then my cousin who was about 20 years older than me, he's gone, and it just hits me harder. And we have and you have this thing called mortality, and what do you say? I know he's gone, but one thing, when he had leukemia, when he was dying, you just think it brought me back to my time with that when I was when I was with my dad when he passed away, and it was just a hard hit. It was harder when back then than it hit, but each death of that just constant mortality. Mike is still with me, but he's now in history. So guys, just remember one thing. If you have petty grievances against a family member, you know what? Forget it. Don't even know if you don't forgive them. Just move on and forget them down the road. Because in the earth, sometimes I say that you know, uh, the energy in earth is different. When you suddenly realize one thing, in the end, when we're all together, in the end, we end up going up there wherever we are. We look at each other and say, "What happened? How come we never talked?" It's not because it's harder trying, but life got in the way. Earth's life got in the way. So because appreciate anybody in your family right now who's beside you. Appreciate anybody there who your old aunt, and if they're annoying, give them a hug. Just give them say, "Hey, aunt, I love you. I'll see you again." And also be grateful. Sometimes you don't see it like that, but sometimes life like that is beautiful. You know, beautifuler than you think. Okay, Mike. I'll catch you later. Anybody who lost a loved one out there, let them go. It's you have to find on your you have to learn to move on. Your journey keeps trudging up that hill again. I'll catch you later, guy.